right, so we have a very, very special guest for the Mr. Insurance podcast. We are on location in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, which is where I think all of the Mr. Insurance podcast should be shot, quite honestly. But the special guest is my beautiful wife, Angie. So welcome, honey. How are you?
Thank you. Fabulous. How are you?
Good. So y'all don't know how difficult it was for me to get her to sit here in front of a camera, which is crazy to me on that. But with a lot of these different podcasts, I've found that actually a lot of people, they're really nervous to get on camera for whatever reason. I mean, you look good on camera, off camera. So, I mean, I'm a little biased clearly, but at the same point in time, I mean, we just really just talk about life and, you know, just some of the things that we got going on. The main thing I wanted to talk to you about today is just kind of like the perspective of, you know, what people look in and what they think they see. And then also like just kind of, I mean, being married to me is already like you deserve a medal as it is, but like dealing with me on a daily basis, the support that you give me, because I could not do the things that I do without you being present, you know? So it's a very, very important piece. And a lot of people don't realize that like who you choose as your partner, your spouse is absolutely critical. It can literally make or break you. It can make you fold or it can bring you up. And there's so many different things that people really don't understand about marriage and partnership. Is like we're literally in business together in marriage. Marriage, as we both know, is not easy. You know, we have been through hell and back and probably through another batch of hell and back, right? But just kind of, you know, tell me a little bit, or tell everybody out here, you know, just what it's like to be married to a legend, you know? I mean...
Well, I say it all the time. It's not easy being married to you. You always got something going on, always something in the works. And really what I have to do is I have to make sure it's all about, you don't have to tell me where the next brick is going. I already know where to lay it. I already know what's coming. I know I need to be present for the children. We have 3 kids, you know, and we have one driving and 2 of them, I mean, before we know it, they're going to be there. But just through those years, just supporting you and knowing that, trusting the process and trusting you're the head of the household.
Took a minute to gain that trust to you know, to say, you know,
I was a single mom. I came from, you know, when I met you, Maddie was 2.5 years old. And I had that single mindset. I came from nothing, you know, and working my way up to that, I saw, like, I manifested. I went to school for hair. After I found out I was pregnant with her, I needed to make sure that I could provide for my child because, you know, the father wasn't involved, which, you know, that's another story, but I could do it on my own. So going from that mentality to meeting someone who is just the best salesman in the world.
Clearly, right?
No, just
I get there with my looks.
Seeing all the potential in you. I had that hustle and drive, and you had that hustle and drive, and just really, not really taking back seat, but so to speak, taking back seat and letting you drive.
Yeah.
You know, that's we came together on a lot of like the different, you know, miscommunications or whatever, you know, and it's all about healing together and growing.
Yeah.
And wanting better for our kids.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this a little bit before we got on camera here. As we were talking about, I am very much a type A personality. I like to put it all out there. Throw the hard flex at people, you know, really put it out on camera, and you are the complete opposite of that.
Complete. I would rather kill it and have no one know, and you'll see me roll up in my roles, like not posting. I don't need the validation from other people. Yeah. And that's why it's hard for me to per se get on cameras, because other people's opinions, I don't care about them. I care about what's good for our family and myself and growing our business, and not what the naysayers have to say. Because again, if they didn't have anything to say, I mean, we wouldn't be doing good, right?
I mean, I a lot of times have used that as motivation because, in my opinion, there is nothing better than proving people wrong, stepping on their throat, and just ramming it home.
I wouldn't say much proving people wrong. It's you do it for you, and that's how you want to operate in life. Is you're doing it for you and not for the validation or hey, I told you so kind of thing. That's when you know you're doing it the right way.
I mean, I like stepping on throats too.
Okay.
But as far as that goes, you know, we have dealt with a lot of things from outside eyes and opinions and things from a multitude of different places. People that we've been involved with in business, people that are friends in our lives, people that will try and take advantage. You know, people see you killing it in life, and there's a level of jealousy that starts taking over in some cases because you're that person that was like, you know, we're good buddies and everything, and then, you know, I'm coming up and you're still at the starting line, and I continue to keep coming up. Now, we've always tried to bring other people up around us, but we found in many cases that, again, there's eyes that look in, cast judgment, and it's been very difficult.
Yeah, well, you have to know who's drilling holes in your boat behind your back. I mean, and not everyone's a friend. Just because they're around you doesn't mean that they're a friend.
I would even apply that to family. Just because somebody is your family does not necessarily, like, we have friends that I would say we consider closer than our own families. You know, we love our moms and dads and everything, our sisters and brothers.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that we want to keep those people sometimes in our immediate circle around us.
There's a fine line. There's boundaries, and as you go through the different chapters, you know, people can try to bring the past to the present, and we're about moving forward and upward, and not. That's why they always say the windshield's bigger than the rearview mirror, is because you need to project yourself into that area. And sometimes you just grow out. It doesn't mean we don't love them. You just outgrow spaces, and especially spaces that won't allow you to flourish. And that's my main point, is building a home and a family with you where our children can grow in different chapters and phases of their lives, and know that we'll always want, not that they don't want the best for us, but it's supporting, that loving support. It can make you or break you. And you just know the difference, you know, of how you want to be for your family.
You know, something that you said to me that really, really stuck. We had a family member of ours that was asking for money, as a lot of times happens, right? And you said to me, well, we're in a position where we've been blessed to be able to do it, and we're thankful that we're able to do it. And instead of looking at it as a negative thing, looking at it as, you know, we can be able to help out, we can be able to make sure that, you know, we have the ability to be able to help them instead of not being able to help them. You know what I'm saying?
But again, there's a fine line, because you want to help them, and you do help them, but also at the same time, they're going to continue. What is that going to teach them?
Yeah.
You know, because we had to make it work. It doesn't matter how many bills were late or whatever the case may be. We had to grind it out to make sure that we have that, because we have no one else to fall back on. So it's like, are you doing them an injustice by continuing to help? So that's where that line, it can be really rough. It can be, because we're just such giving people in your heart. Like, we both have really big hearts. So it's hard for us to.
Yeah. So, yeah, with that being said, I mean, tell that, you know, there's always a perception, I feel like, that is on.
Perception's reality, right?
Well, that you essentially, like, you sit around and do nothing all day, right? That you, like, watch Netflix and kick your feet back and just, you know,
Eat bonbons.
yeah. I mean, I think that there's a perception that you don't do anything. And I know that like, if the roles were reversed, I would have a really big problem with that of what people's perception. So I really commend you when it comes to, you know, just living like a boss. And
Well, there's a stigma around stay-at-home mothers. The stigma, if you've ever been a stay-at-home mom or have had a wife, you know that it's the complete opposite, because they're the ones that make the family life, and they're the ones that hold down the fort, so to speak, when the papa bear isn't around.
yeah.
So it's actually, I don't get to leave my job, technically.
Yeah. And I mean, I would say you're really good about, even though, because a lot of times I work from home, you know, in many cases I work from home, right? So
I love that though, because I can make you breakfast and lunch.
I love that too. Yeah, I do. I love that. I feel
A lot of times you don't even eat if I don't give it to you. You're so busy
I know.
in your
and
office
it's
all day.
the mental stimulation that is taking in all day, every day from those things. It's like right now, you know, like as we're sitting here talking, like I'm thinking about what I need to be potentially to do, you know, for work later on or something. You know, it's like work doesn't really stop in my head ever. And I
You
know,
might want to talk to someone about that, because that's a little unhealthy.
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, again, work doesn't stop. You have to continue to keep grinding and everything. And, you know, that's the double-edged sword of owning a business and owning a successful business at that, because it does not stop. However, I would say you are very, very good about allowing for me to decompress after work has, you know, stopped. And then the other thing that you did, which was super helpful, and I don't know, that also might be a curse as well too, is when I add that Calendly thing, right? So like you have a link and you can schedule time with me and everything. Next thing I know, I'm like lining them out for like date night and those things. I was thankful in that because it made me go to that appointment, and it wasn't an appointment, you know what I mean? But
Well,
like,
you operate off of a schedule. You're a businessman.
it's literally every 15 minutes, like there's something different that's going on, and you turn to try to be able to line item that schedule out and to insert yourself. Like that's where I found a lot of success with trying to be a dad and a husband as well as a businessman, because I think as business people, we forget, well, it's a man, as a businessman, I forget a lot of times to be able to pay attention to my kids and you, and, you know, just
Right. Well, life gets busy. So, but if you operate off a schedule, I'm going to schedule your kids in for you. So until you can get that into more of a habit, you know, routine, because I mean, they're growing up in the blink of our eyes.
I mean,
Right.
it really is like the blink of an eye. I mean, like we were looking back at pictures of, you know, the traditions that we had years ago, even like just a couple of years ago with us. You know, we have changed some of that. Now we're going south instead of going, you know, I guess
Well, that was
west.
our goal. That was our goal. Yeah.
We wanted to
We're
be
killing
able to, you know, to take the kids during Thanksgiving week and then go do Black Friday shopping. So we just migrated south to be able to do that instead of going to the Lake the Ozarks. A lot of people, if you're from St. Louis and we say the lake, there's only one lake in Missouri. If you're from St. Louis or Kansas City, I would even say there is only one lake. And when people are talking about the lake, they mean the Ozarks. And it's just kind of like the whole question of like, where'd you go to high school in St. Louis? Like that's the popular question with that. A lot of people don't understand it, but we would go to our place at the lake. And again, you know, now we have migrated south to where we're able to, you know, be in this beautiful environment. And I am so unbelievably blessed and thankful for that. I could not do the things that I do without you. But, you know, creating these traditions like this year, you know, we pushed it to, you know, making sure that like we're going to spend Thanksgiving this year, or excuse me, we're going to spend Christmas this year in Mexico, right? You know, so we're going to be able to enjoy our time with the kids. I mean, I would be lying to you if I told you I wasn't a little concerned for the person that's going to be bringing food to the room for the boys, because you know that they're going to be just having whoever coming back and forth and back and forth.
Get your ones and fives ready, Daddy.
I mean, for real. Yeah. This might be more of a more of an anxiety attack for the wait staff over at the resort. But I can't wait. And, you know, I'm super thankful that we're able to do those sort of things, that we can take and, you know, have those experiences. I mean, I remember, like, if we got to go on vacation, that was like an amazing thing. And I know definitely for you, because, you know, you grew up differently than I did. I would say,
I think I remember one vacation.
Probably Branson.
No. Okay, we have been there before. We went to Chattanooga, Tennessee. We saw like Ruby Falls, and it was beautiful. I was about 9 years old. But I'm so thankful for that. That was like the biggest ever.
Kind of puts life in perspective, doesn't it? Because we see what our parents did. And again, I know that our parents loved us and they worked hard for us.
Sure.
But we have risen up and we're giving our kids the life that we always wanted. You know, I always say, like, specifically to our daughter, that I want you to be a kid. I want you to experience what it's like to be a kid.
But we also want to teach her responsibility.
Well, with her, yeah, I mean, you already know. I mean, she's pretty good with that. You guys are actually later today looking at colleges. I mean, I never thought, I mean, we're sitting there at the National Honor Society inductee thing, and I'm sitting there cracking jokes of, like, you know,
the only time you're ever going to be at a National Honor Society.
I was like, I don't even know these things existed and stuff, because I don't think I was on the invite list.
Yeah, and I'm like, shh, be quiet, Steve.
And then, like,
embarrassing me.
She was called up for the different names, and I'm sitting here shooting texts over to her for Bob Barker, come on down, you know, like, and
jokes for days.
You know, she didn't go down there twice, thankfully, but I don't know, man. Like, I mean, it's so cool to be able to have a kid that is so driven and just such a great kid.
That's because providing a good home life for her, so.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, one thing that I would say with you and Maddie that's very, very similar with that is you don't let me, like, just do the ordinary ever, right? You're always pushing for us to you're always pushing for me to be able to reach that full potential. And that's a huge motivator for me, because, you know, I set pictures of you guys, and then also right next to the pictures of you guys is the photo of where I had started, you know, in our basement.
I remember Stump Pump, and
yeah,
Maddie would be on her tricycle, like going across the floor, and you're, be quiet up there, I'm on the phone.
Right. Maddie's actually the reason. Do you remember what they call those things? They look like Saturn, and you used to jump on them. What was it, bobble ball? It's not a bobble ball.
Oh, skip it? The skip it?
No, that was the thing you put on your ankle. It was the, well, anyway, it looked like Saturn, and you were jumping. It was a ball, and there was like a plastic piece that was all the way around it.
Okay.
And she would jump on it, and she would always try and get my attention. Well, then I was like, well, I'm going to go over there and jump on it because I'm an idiot. And apparently that thing had a weight capacity, right? So I busted the side off. Well, that's where the Select logo ended up coming on here, because I busted the side off of it. And that's where the whole, I was like,
I remember.
Because I had a check mark, if you remember, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then that's how the logo was actually created with that. It's because of her. But oh my gosh, man, I remember that Stump Pump, like, I had that sucker timed. But when that noisy fucking thing would go out, oh my God, it was like I had it timed to where I would have to, like, hit mute on my phone.
Yep.
Down there. And it was incredible because the very first company, we ended up actually owning that. Very first company.
Oh, I remember.
We ended up.
Was it Ben Sherman?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So
all your first checks and stuff that you got from, then now, we purchased that company. It was really cool. It was like a whole, like, connection, like, connecting. But that's honestly, like, all those things that you're thanking me for are the things you're thanking me for, the support and everything. But what I love about you is your drive and your nonstop. Like, I do love that about you. I love that your mind's always going, always trying to do better, always trying to, next level, next goal, and crushing it and killing it. And that's my job though as a wife, is to support you in all those endeavors, even if they're a little crazy sometimes. But I can't tell you, you shoot for the stars, aim for the moon. Like, let's go.
So I want to tell a story about like pushing limits. Okay. And I went too far with pushing this limit. So Jack was about to be born. Jack is our oldest son, and he was like my official, like, I participated in creating Jack, right? So physically, right?
What?
Well, I don't. Anyway,
like
all right, let's move on with this, right? Let's fast forward.
Where are we
here, right?
going?
So I was sitting there in the hospital room, and you were literally pushing him out, and I am on the phone in the corner.
I still have that picture of you.
Closing the deal.
You had my new boppy pillow, like what we were going, like I breastfed him with, my boppy pillow, and then the laptop on top. I have a
It was a
picture
great
of you.
stand. I mean, it really was.
I was like in the middle of a contraction, and I'm sitting there taking a picture. But those are memories, though, and that's not every woman is going to understand those things. I mean, it might have been a little too far, but you got off when he was crying. I mean, you got off the call or whatever the case was. But those are the things I understand. I don't want a deadbeat man. I want a man who's on his grind and doing his thing. And that's, I couldn't ask for anything different.
I'll get that picture for us to be able to post out there for people to be able to see that.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's
Backwards hat.
that is impactful with that. Man, I just think back of like how poor we were at one point in time, because after the health insurance stuff,
We were rich off love, honey.
I mean, literally, like our first date. This is terrible, and I don't know if like whoever
Probably shouldn't say
Bank of
this.
America is like, probably shouldn't say it, but
Okay.
I might have like not had any money, and I wanted to take you out on a date, so I like might have fed some empty envelopes into the ATM, knowing that I was going to be paid on Monday, and then I was able to get a few $100 out so I could take you to dinner, and we went to the Cardinal game and everything. It's just so different today of like the things that I think
Salmon.
of that I used to do, and like my mindset and my thinking has changed so much.
Yeah, you grew from that, though. That's what we do.
Yeah.
You grow.
Yo.
It's inevitable, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's one thing that's always remained constant, and I know some people probably perceive like, the sales piece of things, right? Sometimes they perceive that as a negative. I would say that's been one of my best assets, one of my best attributes, because if you can sell, you'll never really go hungry. If you can be able to hustle, you'll never really go hungry. If you have that drive and ambition, a lot of people that have come into our business or have entered in some way or another, there's a lot of inconsistencies. And you notice that when they fall off, it's because they're not moving forward, and they're
You gotta invest in yourself.
right. They're not moving forward, and we continue to keep moving forward. So you don't want to say you're leaving people in the dust, but that's kind of like the analogy here is you're leaving, you're
Transfull
leveling up,
Right.
and other people are staying stagnant. And comfort's a very, very real thing. And I know that, like, I've talked about this before of like, what is enough? I mean, we got every time you turn around, new freaking car in the driveway.
Oh, that's another conversation.
Another episode, right?
I can't get attached to my cars. I can't name them. Can't do anything like that. You got a new car every few months. But, if that's your thing, I could be arguing with you about a million other things. Like, that. I'm going to let you have that, Like, if that's what drives you, new cars and fancy stuff like that, like, you do you. Just
Yeah. Well, a lot of people also don't realize, I mean, outside of you, obviously you motivate me, and, you'll talk to me and be like, hey, if you do this, whatever, like, I'll do this. And the thing is that like the motivation of the family and like having experiences, like, being able to travel, being able to, again, see the world and the different things that the world has to offer. That's a big drive. That's a big motivator for me. And that's what makes me go to work and work harder every day. So it's not always like the cars thing. That's just like my thing. And then clearly that's rubbed off on Jack because, I mean, he's obsessed with cars.
I told him he's very blessed that he is a father who is loving cars just as much as him.
When Tyler came over and he brought that freaking Pagani Huayra or whatever the heck that it is, I don't even know how to pronounce the damn thing, but when he brought that over, it was like Dad was chopped liver. You know what I mean? I'm driving in my piece of crap Ferrari behind you, right? And yeah, I mean, it was just there's just something about cars that I think that every successful man or woman can relate to. Mainly, I would say for the guys, a car just says something about you. It describes, like, when you show up and you roll up in something that's super fancy, like there's a confidence factor that's there that cannot even be described. When you have people that are like, man, what do you do for a living? And like, a lot of people don't understand that.
Just don't tell them OnlyFans.
So let's talk
You
about
and your
that, right?
OnlyFans.
Well, I got tired of people asking what I did for a living, so
You could have
it
used
says
a
Mr.
different name.
Insurance on the back of my plate. It's not like you don't see what I do.
But peanut butter friends?
So I mess with people, right? You know, I would tell them, I was like, yeah, I have an OnlyFans. I'm the peanut butter prince. I let my dog lick peanut butter off my feet.
You have 3 dogs. Like, it's just weird. Like, I mean, I don't know. That's all I'm saying.
It's the shock factor for me.
You love
Got him with the shock factor, right? So,
just not the shocker.
right? So, right? So you've got when I would say that, they would look at me like I had 3 eyes or something, because I mean, it was just like the biggest freaking rise for me, because I honestly, like, there's sometimes like I really do get sick because people get really bold with, like, where do you live? Like, how did you get that? How much did that cost? And like, people are really in your face about stuff. And it's like, that's kind of like where I revert to Eastside Angie.
Okay.
And
see, now we're throwing balls. Okay.
So that's where I revert to that. And I'm kind of like, mind your own business. I have no problem with somebody that comes up and is like, man, it's a super nice car. Like, people want to take pictures with it. But I do have, like, some people take it too far. Like, they really do. The biggest thing that brings the most joy to me for that is to setting the bar, setting the expectations for our kids, to say that if you work really, really hard, you can achieve whatever you set out to be able to achieve in your life. And I mean, that Ferrari was that was the poster on my wall, right? That was what I envisioned myself driving every single day. And I would say the other one was the 911 Porsche, right? The turbo, which we got one of those too, right? So and an SUV for it. So we've got, you're hitting different goals and levels, and you're living your dreams in real life. I have driven the cars that I wanted to be able to drive. I've lived out my fantasy, if you will, with that, right? And that's awesome. Like, I get to live that every day. And I know there's a lot of people that they settle for just comfort and they never go up to the next level. And, that's something that I would say, you've helped me to, like, have that healthy balance in things, because again, I say all the time, like, I don't know what I would do, like, without you.
Bring me back to reality. Well, you killed you're crushing your goals and things. Those are your goals with the cars. My goals were always, that's where we combine, because I have my family mentality of always making sure my kids, our kids can come to us through anything. It's not, oh my gosh, something happened, I can't tell mom or dad. It's, oh my gosh, something happened, mom, dad. Like, I, always wanted that for our family life. And I mean, the family is really just coming together, and being able to spend this time together is the goals and then just marrying that together is the perfect combination,
I'm a lot of times the one that is the reprimander in the scenarios and everything. I'm rougher on the kids. I know that the kids all come to you for different various things, but definitely for the emotional support. The emotional support is so huge. And I would even say that I'm a very much a receiver of your emotional support. There's been so many different times where I'm just like, man, I don't know how I'm going to keep going. I mean, stressed out. I mean, like we've been in different various business ventures that have gone south. You know, we've lost our asses on things, and you're just like, we got it. God's going to provide for us. Like, you're going to be okay. We're going to, pick each other up. We're going to be okay. And that's,
Stay positive.
I mean, that's really been a huge thing for me,
That's how I grew up. You have to stay positive. Life throws different curveballs, but as sure as the sun sets, it rises. Tomorrow's a new day and new chapter in the book.
Yeah.
That's how you have to look at life.
So another thing is people probably wonder, like, do you work in the business, right? Okay. And so I know I go back to this here sometimes, but I was married at one point in time before and divorced from that girl. Right. So, obviously, that she was a part of that business. And I always said that if I ever was married to somebody ever again, I did not want them to be in the business because, again, we kind of both hold different roles in our livelihoods. And if you're working with me in the business, I don't know how some people do it. Like, we've got some good friends that the husband, wife, they're in the, in the business together.
If it works, that's great for them.
I just I already take enough.
I couldn't work with you. I literally, I couldn't. I could not work with you.
Well, I don't know if I could work with you.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. So anyhow, man, I'm telling you, like, just the ride that we've been on and just the memories that we've been able to make, positive or negative. I mean, you remember the things that have impacted your life and the negative things that you've been able to learn from those and be able to overcome it. I know that, both of us really, dealt with our different demons in different ways. And we kind of, I don't know, somehow we figured out how to be able to crack the code. But I think it's so important also. One of the things that I look at when I'm doing business with somebody, like if they're going to be essentially working with us or if they're going to be working for us or whatever, I look at what is your relationship with your spouse? What is your relationship with your kids? I look at those things now, and it was you that really showed me that, because if a person is going to venture outside of their marriage, if they're going to cheat in their marriage, they're going to cheat you in business. If a person is going to cheat or sell their kid short on something, they're not going to, you're going to get I had Kevin on here and he talked about buying the cheapest possible tires for the kids or the cheapest possible brakes or whatever. And you're like, that's your kid. They're driving around on the road. Why wouldn't you want the best for them instead of the cheapest possible thing? I look at all those kind of things because it's like the whole, do you return your grocery cart when you're done unloading your groceries? It's like that next laziness or whatever. I look at that kind of stuff now, and you really made me see a lot of that kind of stuff because there's so much temptation that's out there these days. I mean, there's so much that it surrounds us constantly, and as we've done better in life, we've pull back. I'm going to say me pull back. I pull back as much as allowing myself to pull back when it comes to, being out there and in the, the public eye. Right. But you look at super wealthy people and you look at a Bill Gates, look at a Elon Musk, you look at that, those people, they're not out flexing out on Instagram.
It's because they don't need other people's validation.
Yeah, well, that's something that I'm learning, and clearly this is not a great indicator of that, right? They're in a different business than I am, but at the same point in time, man, I mean, you notice that these people, they can have anything, and they don't say a thing about it. And I've noticed that people will start, as they become more successful, they start to form gates around, and it's to keep people out of their lives.
Block the haters.
Yes, that should not be in their lives. And you find that those people that are super successful outside of well, I think even the Facebook owner guy or whatever, he's got a wife now.
Tom?
What is it?
Tom?
That's the like first friend. That's not the guy that owns Facebook.
Oh, thank you.
Zuckerberg.
Zuckerberg.
Yeah, that's MySpace.
What? You're welcome for taking
Just
it back.
cut right now. Yeah, just cut. Anyway, so yeah, the Zuckerberg or whatever. I'm pretty sure he has a wife now here as well too. I'm not positive, but you see the other guys, you know, the Bill Gates and Elon Musk and everything, like and Jeff Bezos, they have a good woman behind them. And I'm telling you, that's like the true success, man. Like, you need that support system. Men are built differently. Like, why do you think back in, you know, the 40s and the 50s and stuff, like why women and men assume different roles? Because women are programmed to survive and replicate, and they're emotionally driven.
Well,
right?
it's biblical too, yeah.
Yeah. And then, you know, we're taught to like go out and hunt and like spread our seed. And, you know, like we don't have much purpose other than those things, right? You know,
Man, all right.
but like, you know, like we go out there and we, you know, chop the wood. And
Honey, I've never seen you
I don't even know
tap the
power
wood
tools or
and make a
whatever.
kill.
I'll make a phone call. Yeah. Make a phone a friend or something on that. Yeah, it's just not a good scenario at all with that. But yeah,
You're gonna pay someone to do it and make your money other ways. And that's fine. You gotta know what you're good at.
I mean, I'm surprised. Like, even like, so I'm going to take us back to like 2018, 2019, before COVID hit. And like, we were just absolutely just killing it in business. And the staff had said, you know, just like, go live your life, like swing your clubs at the country club, go get on your boat, travel the world, enjoy your life.
They did not know what they were doing at the time when they said that to you.
Right, but it was like, I mean, I remember like in the show Peaky Blinders, like when Tommy was forced to go take a vacation, he was absolutely miserable because it was like he didn't have that purpose. You know
The
what I
time
mean?
to set in his mind. That's what it was.
Yeah. Well, now all of a sudden you could kind of start continuing to keep thinking about it. I remember I'm like trying to sit there and like put up crown molding and like paint the house.
Yeah.
And it was because I wanted to feel like I was needed.
Yeah. No,
And I wanted
remember
to feel
those times.
accepted. But we both know I should never swing a hammer, ever. Right? Or own power tools for that matter.
That's
ever.
now your strong suit.
Right?
Babe. Not judging.
Yeah. But I mean, the thing is that like business is as much of a mind stimulator as, you know, like playing a sport or whatever. Like when I was coming up through sports, like we learned to be super competitive, and we would, you know, get to work and we would, you know, just compete on a daily basis. And the thing is that I've applied a lot of those principles in business, you know, like where we compete. Like, I want to be the best of the best. You already know that. I'm looking to just take out the competition and then create my own competition and compete on that. You know what I mean? Set the bar and then move forward. We've been to a lot of these different various, you know, like we did the Hall of Fame, you know, the Asian Hall of Fame, the 1% of the 1%ers. We've done $1 Million Roundtable. I mean, we've done all kinds of different things. And those trips, you know, like I would say out of those trips, we've really met some really great people, but it's the mindset that these people, everything is the exact same. Like these people are wired, and it's very much like that. So people be like, you should relate with their wives. And they'll be like, yeah, my husband's crazy and like he doesn't ever stop. And you're like, oh, great, I'm not the only one.
Same please. Right. Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, so, you know, let's get back to talking about being married to a legend, you know? Like, so tell me a little bit more about that. No more?
No.
There's, no.
Nothing.
So, I mean, you know, like, what are your, we talked about this before. So like a lot of times we'll ask, well, what's next? Like, what are the things that we're trying to be able to do? Like, what are our hopes and dreams? And we set those goals as couple goals. And, you know, we try to be able to take that out. So I would say, you know, more property and
Can't tell everyone.
right.
See.
Yeah, there's
Still see.
okay. All right. I like the way that you're thinking.
Watch
about
me.
stuff, right?
Watch me pull up to the cookout.
Yep. So, all right. Well, you know, I definitely, I thank you for coming on here. I know that that was,
Wasn't too terrible.
it was a pull for me to be able to pull you on here and stuff, but I really think that it offers a different perspective, especially for women or women in business. And I'm going to even say for the guys as well, too, right? You know, get your life right and get a good wife, you know, and get a partner, not a nuisance. Quit chasing around after, you know, these chicks that aren't getting you nowhere and stuff, you know, like find yourself somebody that is going to be your partner, to somebody that you love and really put into it, because
Right.
again, it's just like business. Anything that you put it yourself into that you really, you know, we
Get what you get.
as me and Joey were talking about earlier, like we're all or nothing people. So, you know, if you put everything into your marriage, you're going to have a successful marriage. If you put everything in your business, you're going to have a successful business. I do think that there's, you know, some lines in between there.
Finding that special
Finding that
lens.
fine line, but yeah, for sure. But
Thanks
yeah,
for having me.
yeah, I love that. I'm looking forward to, you know, spending more time down here with you. And yeah, but again, thank you for coming on here and humoring me here today, making us look good over here. We'll get a lot more.
Legend.
We'll get more views for sure on this, everything, anytime she's on here. So, all right,
So who's the legend?
right. Okay. I'll give you that. All right.